So, hello, welcome back to another episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. I am tremendously sorry for my voice. It's been a rather long night of not that much sleeping. I just before wanted to work out, which turned out to be like 23 minutes of some light doing something and not just doing a bit of cardio. The last 2 days I really have not been eaten the way I should have. Which means that I do especially feel, pretty, flat, When I look into the mirror, I do also not see what I used to see. But yeah, it is what it is. I'll just have to eat a bit more. And probably also a bit more frequently. Yesterday, which, in the end was actually not that bad. I, probably had a total of, what would it be? Without drinks, I would say, and I would argue, 1,000 calories at most. Me having 2 oatmeals, which is not really, that calorie dense, and I think also an apple, and, that's actually quite it. Smart? No, definitely fucking no. But anyway, today I'll probably also have to do some uni things, as I'm just, looking to the right side of myself. Those projects that I'm having sitting here or there. Probably also gonna do some client work. Gonna, how do you call it? Probably gonna, gonna talk to them again. A few of them I've talked to yesterday. But, sometimes in certain situations, you're probably going to say certain things that may or may not be true in the very end. So I don't know if all the things are true. So I gotta have to, follow up with them. This is what I've been searching for. And I am going to see then. And I'll also have to check what I have to do for uni as well. I guess there's a bit more than, what I think about, what I'm having in mind. But it is what it is. It is actually pretty nice to now finally kind of have something to do, something rather smart to do. It's not I'm just doing some things, but I also feel and think and guess and assume that that I also am, doing certain things that make sense, things that are worthwhile, things that are good for me, things that I just, have to do because, it's obligatory, mandate, well, you know what I mean. I just have to do certain things, and, before I just, was doing things because they were fun for me, like recording, client work, and so on and so forth. But in the end, I really often had the feeling of, okay, whatever I'm actually doing does not make too much sense. Why am I even doing it? Why do I even bother to record, to talk, to podcast, if in the end, not a lot of people are going to see it anyway, It often felt a bit unnecessary and, strange maybe, that I am putting so much time into something and so much effort, effort not that much, but especially time, into something that in the end does not get me quite anywhere. Even though, of course, obviously, I did indeed build the podcast in a way, so to speak, that no matter what, I'm gonna benefit from it, I'm, talking about some things that I'm interested in. I am learning new things. I'm talking in English. I'm using English. I'm talking and I'm presenting something, which, up to this point was actually pretty worthwhile, to be honest, Also now in uni, me having certain subjects in English, I'm just having a bit of better time because I'm quite used to it, even though I do want to say and do want to point out it is something completely different, like 100%. Do not really necessarily know why, but still, it is something completely different if I'm talking to myself on a podcast and about something that I enjoy, or when it is about something rather random, something that, how should I say? Something that is, kind of indeed actually random. Like, I do not know what we're going to talk about. Before an episode, I do know what I'm going to talk about, and I'm also I'm kind of being in the space of, comfort, basically, because I don't know, like, I just talk about the same things, relatively often, and that's actually quite it. So something that I've realized and something that I've recognized is that this is only like the whole, I am basically like, how can I say? I'm basically thinking and I'm basically saying to myself that whatever the fuck I'm doing isn't worthwhile. Obviously, if I'm doing so, nothing that I'm doing is worthwhile. So whatever the fuck it may be, that I'm doing, it is not going to be worthwhile. It is going to be unnecessary. It is just in my mind, just something that I do with my mind. Something, like a concept, a way of thinking that I myself created. So just, if you think about it, you can also just reverse that. You could also decide, I am gonna do it differently. I'm gonna think that some things are worthwhile. I'm gonna see things a bit more objectively. I'm gonna be a bit more objective. For example, with the podcast, obviously there is some usefulness in it. At least, I'm getting certain things out of it. If I try to do so, and if I'm, working hard to establish this, the space quite. Today it may actually not be the case because I'm just talking, just have things on my mind, just do things and whatnot. This obviously isn't getting me that much, but I do hope that, very dearly, that I'm considering certain things and I'm talking about certain things that are really beneficial to you, the listener, the viewer, the person that is interested, maybe even what I have to say. And still, just because I thought about presenting things, presentations, talking to, kind of a big quantity of people, it is still the case that I get really nervous also when I'm just, talking. It doesn't necessarily have to be that many people, also when it is just 10 and 20 people, I do get nervous. And I have, kind of recognized and realized and seen this a bit more clearly in the past few, I don't know, like a year, maybe 1 year, something like that. And, I do not like it. I do pretty dislike it. And I do not necessarily know why as well. Also when it is, when it really does not matter what I speak about. If it is, of course it does make a difference if I'm talking about something sensical versus something that just completely does not make any sense. I'm just kind of referring to university here. Also, yesterday, indeed, I was talking to my class, people that I actually do not really know, people that people that actually are strangers to me. There is a certain connection, there is a certain quote-unquote attack point, a way to talk to them and whatnot, but still, they don't know me, I don't know them, even though it's been like 2 weeks of university, first time I met them, because of COVID, also because of, when you are in those really huge rooms for lectures, I then do not talk that much to people, also partly because I don't want to be an asshole, because, if I'm presenting something, if I'm talking about something, I wouldn't also like somebody to just, talk about something else, But I think besides that, I really am at this point of time doing not that bad of a job to just, talk to people and, get to know people and so on. Because I think that it is actually a pretty useful skill, to be able to have conversations, which most often is all about listening and asking great questions. It is really not about talking, even though I think that talking about the right things is going to make the conversation better, if you can add something to the whole thing, when it is all about, race cars, Formula 1, and you know a bit about it, and you can talk a bit about it, and you can actually lead an interesting conversation by also, since you know the topic, asking very good questions. This is very useful, and this is very great. Of course, you cannot be knowledgeable in any space, or in every space. It's just not possible, there's so many things in life, in things, in whatever. It is what it is. I do not also know everything. My, spectrum of knowledge is actually, it is actually indeed not that bad. I think it is quite diverse, since I'm interested in many things, interested in a lot of things. It's not that difficult for me to find something to talk about. Sometimes it's also about the creativity, when somebody says like, I don't know, I attended this and that school and whatnot, then, I don't know, asking if they enjoyed it, if they liked it, might be really obvious. But maybe, for example, then asking further, why did you like it? Is there something that you're missing here now, in your position right now that you've had in school back then? Of course, also really depends your mental state in terms of, obviously when you're drunk, you can ask quite anything and nobody cares. And you're also going to do so just because you don't care. On the other hand, it can be strange asking certain things, asking too deep things. I guess one really has to have a feeling for what to ask, Of course, when I'm asking a person that I just met, something rather philosophical, something rather, maybe even personal. Why do you like this school? And also like, what are you missing now? It's sometimes it's just a bit too deep. And which does not make any sense, to be honest, especially in the beginning, if you're just, trying to get to know a certain person, then, it's, not that sensical. So I do think having connections, which, really can be tied into the whole thing of, being able to talk to people, being able to, connect to people, being able to get to know people, being in the right environments, which I'm actually not, really not, because I am not dealing with people that much, to be honest, Besides my dear friends and besides some client work and besides my family, I do not go out frequently, I don't know. Yesterday's actually been the first time of me being in a club for 4 years or something. Maybe even 5, I do not even know. I've never been to a club and I've also never really liked it. This time was actually quite interesting, quite great, to be honest. And I think that sometimes we think that we dislike something because we once disliked it, but it doesn't make any sense, just because I once did something, said something, disliked something, liked something, doesn't mean that I'm always gonna stay in that space, that I'm always gonna dislike it, that I'm always gonna hate it, that I'm always whatever the fuck. But yeah, ask good questions, get to know people, do something smart, get to know yourself, and we're gonna see you the next time. So, bye-bye.